that type of things, that type of outlook. The main thing we're supposed to focus on again is what's good, and so the not doing, the you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, is simply a way of, again, directing us to open up to the good that's really present, right? So again, this negativity, it's always the negativity by itself hates the world, no matter how it's clothed in, no matter if it's clothed in religiosity or mysticism or politics or whatever it is. If it's negative, it's negative, and the basis of negativity is basically a hatred of life, God forbid, a hatred of the world. So let's go on here. God protect us. Evan Avol Samav da Evan Negev Vak Shin Chayavim. Again, and this is it says people make a mistake here, but it's only because they look down on themselves. If you look down on yourself, so then there could be a tendency to start to look down on the world also. You start to kind of externalize one's feelings about oneself, and then God forbid, the Torah becomes a means by which you put yourself down more, and then you put the world down more, right? And so it's very easy to, God forbid, fall into that, and really that's not the intention of the Torah. The intention of the Torah is really the opposite. It's to show us really the beautiful things about ourselves, and to build our confidence in ourselves. I remember actually Reb Shlomo saying verbatim. He said it was just a couple people standing there, and he said, you know, the Yatsuhara, it's always about taking away someone's confidence. The negativity is always about taking away your own confidence, your own ability to believe in yourself and to do positive things in the world. That's in general, and the Yatsuhara is a representative of negativity. And so again, if a person looks down on themselves and then they can come to a place that, well, look at all the bad things I did, therefore I'm bad. And it's like cycles, you know. I did all this bad, therefore, I shouldn't have done this, and then they learn more what they shouldn't have done, and it takes them more out of the present. And it takes them more out of learning to see the positive within themselves, as opposed to looking back on it and say, well, I missed out on all the positive things about myself. I missed out on because I was involved in such silly things, you know. And now I have this great opportunity with the Torah. It's teaching me how to focus in on what's really beautiful about me, and who I really am internally. So the Gemara then says, "Tachazi eat eretz chaim la'ela v'hai ihu eretz Yisrael." He says, but you should know that there is a place above which is called Eretz Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael is the land of life, and the land of life is always good, and it's always, again, you know, to look at the Zohar maybe literally it would be a mistake. But eat Eretz Latata. There's an upper land and there's a lower land. The lower land is one of negativity. V'nikra afel v'tzamavis. Dark. The nafka me'eretz apata. It comes from this negative place. But there is an Eretz Yisrael, and the Eretz Yisrael is this place of life. Again, so maybe again it really is above and really below, but I think again what it's talking about is you know, as Jews and as human beings, there's a way of looking at things that's always kind of going up. It's always la'ela, and that's really the Eretz. That's the way to look at life as a Jew. Eretz Yisrael, everything, the land of a Jewish person. The land of a Jewish person, I mean, the physical experience of a Jewish person, despite the negativity, right? Gam ke'elech v'geitzal mavet lo yirah. Despite the fact that it seems to be, sometimes the world can seem like a negative place, we're always looking at the positive. We're always taking the high road. We're always looking towards what is the good that could possibly be there, right? And so therefore we have all these. The Torah touches on every aspect of our life because it was supposed to be filled with positives. We're always supposed to be taking the high road, so to speak. Because therefore, really I forgot one part here. interestingly enough, the Zohar throws in this Zuhama de Dahaba, the grossness or the dirtiness of gold, right, as being connected with this place of negative judgments, right? We're talking about it on Shabbos, this whole concept of like when, in the world of making money, so people only look at, unfortunately, only look at other people in terms of how much money they can make for them or how much they can help them make money. And this really has to do with a place of judging harshly. You're not when a person looks at you that way, they're not looking at how kind you are. They're not looking at how helpful you are. They're not looking at how bright you are or how intelligent you are. They're just looking at you in in the most limited way. What can you do for me? How can you help me make money? It's an absolute baseline. It's so limited. And I think that's why the Gemara mentions it here. Zuhama de Dahaba. This is to do with this whole concept of negativity, only looking at people in terms of their monetary value. And this is assessed again. The Jews in this parsha starts the whole series of events that leads to slavery. That's the essence of such a concept is the grossest thing that human beings have ever come up with, which is slavery. Right, but again, so and that's actual slavery. May God wipe it out from the world. But there, again, any other type of slavery is to do with the same way of looking at ourselves only in terms of a physical thing, only in terms of I'm only worthy because of this. I'm only worthy because of that. I'm only valuable if I do this. If I produce that. No, the Torah teaches us you are valuable because you exist. You're not valuable because you give this or you give that or you do this or you do that or you produce something. You're valuable, period, as a human being. The value of and sanctity of human life and human awareness, and even beyond. I mean, again, there are all sorts of halachas that have to do with cutting down trees and fruit trees and how we treat animals, and there are honestly many ways around them simply because we have to exist in the world, and in different time periods we've needed to make our living doing different things. But in a very basic way, the Torah even respects the life of trees, the life of vegetation, the life of animals as precious. If you have a fruit tree in your yard, it's a question whether you can cut it down or not. You have to. You have to have a need, but there has to be some sort of need. Just to cut down a tree because you want to, a fruit tree, you're not allowed. So again, there can be an association with having to do with making money that has to do with this whole world of negativity. Not that money is inherently negative. Again, that would be also cycling into and giving into negativity to say money is negative. It's too simplistic. Money is not negative, but looking at people as if they're things and looking at money as if it's the be all end all of everything, that's almost the kind of center of negativity according to the Zohar. So we'll end on a positive note. Look, therefore, how much we have to focus on and pay attention to our obligations as Jews, serving God, davening, lighting Hanukkah candles, saying the Birkat HaMazon, the blessing after the meal. All our obligations, all things, we have to look at those because those are ways in which and sources of and learning. Those are the ways in which we get in touch with positiveness, looking at the world in a beautiful and positive way. Right? We have to work in our learning day and night, again, and not just with a book open. Right? You have to understand that there's always learning available. There's always something positive God is teaching us. The Torah every day cries out to every person and says, was it Mi Peti Yasur Heina Chasile V'Amar Lo? Where did I have it here? No, I have it here. From Mishlei, chapter 9, the Psukim are 4 and 5. Mi peti yasur hena chaser lev amralo. Someone who is maybe people who are maybe not petty is a very interesting term, but it has a connotation of not being so bright. Basically, people who are not with it. Come take a look, and those whose hearts aren't present should say to them, "Lachu lachmu b'lachmi." Come and eat my bread, ushtu b'yein masachti, and drink the wine that I've prepared. So God is telling us, part of what we do in the world is, again, we're always looking out, and when we look out, we look at ourselves and we say, well, we're lacking, and no matter, imagine if I'm Bill Gates, and I've made millions and millions of dollars. I mean, it's great. I have 1,000 boats and great palaces everywhere. So what? What am I doing? I mean, what's next? Okay, great. My life's more comfortable. But again, what am I doing? Okay. So in that world, and so that can leave a person thinking about the world. Wow, it's very, very negative. There's really nothing to it. I made all this money. I did all these things, and actually, I still don't feel fulfilled. In some way it's more comfortable, but what am I doing with my life? And so that's where the Torah says, again, don't look outwards. God's telling us look inwards. Look at the Torah. Look at God's saying it's not about what you can accomplish. I'm giving you all this amazing way, these amazing ideas. I'm plugging you into the kind of underpinnings of reality, the way that you can learn incredible things in your life, being here in the physical world that you couldn't learn just being a soul, so to speak, just being a soul without a body. There's amazing things going on here, but it's not necessarily yours. It's God saying it's mine, and I'm sharing it with you, right? So again, I'm sharing with you come eat my bread. God's saying, if you look at the world and you find it to be negative, it's only because you're tasting from the wrong tree, so to speak. God's saying, come taste from. It says here the Ilana Dechai, the tree of life. It goes on to talk about, right? Come and taste from that which gives life to life, which are these ideas and these beautiful things, these internal teachings that God's giving us all the time, and that's what learning Torah is to get us to. It's not us as much. It's a gift. It's like on the one hand, it's really a gift, and it takes and therefore it takes a level of humility to open up to it, because it's not necessarily ours. But what we realize is again that in the world of the Zuhamad Dahava, the filth and grossness of money, it's all about what you did. I did this, you did this, they did this, she did this. He's always about what did the person do, for better or worse, whatever. But in the world of spirituality, God is saying, God's telling us none of you can compare to God. I mean, what can you do that compares with God? Nothing. And so that can make a person feel very bad. Say, well, therefore I'm nothing. But the point is, so what? God's giving you anyway. The fact that you have that you all of a sudden realize that all these things we've been doing maybe are a little bit meaningless. All that's there for, and the reason we avoid it sometimes, God forbid, our whole lives, because what's underneath is so beautiful and so exciting, and it's both not ours and it's also the most ours. Right? This place of being, understanding how I'm really not deserving of any of it, and yet God's giving me all this incredible ideas, the deepest ideas anyway. Right? That He's saying it's fine. You're right. You didn't do anything, but I'm giving you. Look, come eat from my. That's really the source of being positive. That very concept of understanding both in a certain sense the futility of life, but also the true longevity of life. It's the underneath. It's the conversation, right? It's like I always say about my father, Zichron Livracha. That we used to have these great conversations, and so when he left the world, it was very sad. You can't talk to him seemingly anymore. But what I realized is that those conversations keep going. Those when you talk about ideas, when you try to figure out meaning and you open up to positive things, those ideas, they go on forever. They keep going, right? And so on the one hand, we look at life and we say it seems very futile, right? We really think about it. But that's only, again, that negative thing that's there. Well, therefore, what do we do? Is only there to get us to open up to that which isn't futile, which is this great giving that God is giving us and begging us, please, there's so much good here. It's really positiveness, looking at the world in a beautiful way. That's the Torah. The Torah is that which is crying out to us, literally, machraza, b'chol yoma, every day, every moment. Please come and taste of this beauty that underlies the world, right? That's not in the seeming futility of physical life, but it's underneath. And the Torah really is such a privilege because it really gives us, when we engage it as God's Torah, it really gives us a way to really plug into this. It's real. This is these really beautiful, deep and wonderful ideas. The Torah it's not just there's like a little bit of it. I mean, once you plug in, it's endless. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful, on top of beauty, within beauty, on top of beauty, within beauty, going on and on with thousands and thousands of concepts. And so all of that, again, and just to sum up, our encounter of Torah, therefore, is one that then, when we encounter that beauty and that underlying meaning, so then when we go out in the world, it only augments that, right? Because we know what not to get involved with that will make us more negative. And now we look at the world, so we mirror out then, looking at the world as a place of meaning, because the Torah always deals with things in the physical world. And so it's teaching us how to find meaning and beauty and goodness in the physical world, which of course then, at its highest level, then uplifts the world. And this is the concept of a Talmid Chacham. That's what Talmid Chacham is, one who, no matter where they go, they uplift a little bit. They're making the world a little bit higher. So always looking on the positive. So we should be zocheh to have a good Hanukkah, and zocheh to go out of our confinement and prisons, and happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Sure.
So what do we say about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and stuff like that?
That part?
I mean, sorry, but I